Honestly, right now is the most worried that I've seen collectors, and I'm not sure what's causing so much like anxiety and issues around the Pokemon collecting space. We are right now seeing some pretty big shifts, and even a lot of vendors are saying that, hey, we're getting pretty poor sale figures at the moment, and a lot of people are saying that they're selling their collection for less than market value. But to me, I don't really see that as like, oh, the Pokemon market is weakening. I actually think it's revealing something much more important, which is that the quality of your collection right now matters more than ever. And as I'm gonna show you in this video, there's a lot of cards that are not dropping in price, and there's very important reasons why that is. And when you do look closely at this, you can see that there's important characteristics of these cards. And also, by the way, I've got some crazy news for you. Your boy is doing something that I never thought I'd do. So I've literally been playing Pokemon Champions nonstop, and I thought, you know what, man? Nah, I need to make a Twitch and stream this all with you. So my first Twitch stream is happening on Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific time. Honestly, I would love your support there. It would mean the world. And low-key, man, real talk, I'm actually kind of nervous. So I just need like my dedicated people, please be there, be a big fan. And also I do have some insane banana badges for your support. Honestly, we can chat live. You can find all the details in the video's description plus the pinned comment. But yes, the Pokemon market is in a very weird spot. And now with ultra modern, or whatever we want to call it, like the insanely hyper modern stuff, there doesn't seem to have a bit of a time factor with those collectibles. And what you can really see with collectibles that have a lot of history and a big story around them, they hold much stronger than things that have just came out of thin air. That's the reason why I do want to take you through the market, and I want to explain this just so you guys can get an idea of what's happening with the market. So the first one I want to speak about is the Mega Charizard X Special Illustration Rare. Yes, gorgeous artwork, no one's denying that. Pretty much a universally loved card. Even people that are not fans of Charizard, or those real, like, you know, everyone says that there's Charizard fatigue, even those people love this card. This is the card that I wanna first speak about. And what I wanna really walk you through in this video, and especially if you're new to collecting Pokemon cards, or you're new in the collectible world, these cards have never had a period of being vulnerable. The market has never shaked a little bit. But when I show you of cards that have actually gone through that journey, and you can see how they are a bit more resistant to what's happening in the market right now. Let's go into the Mega Charizard X. So market high was around 881. Right now it is selling for $777. That is a very small drop what's happened for this card. The big thing that's happened with this card and where it's been much more squeezed is the PSA 10 version of this. Though we can see that the Mega Charizard X has had a bit of a dip, but when we look at the Umbreon VMAX, which has a lot of history, the Umbreon VMAX, okay, if you are new and you've never heard of this card, which is just unlikely, but this was a massive chase. It pretty much sparked Pokemon collecting to what it is today. This card is universally known outside of Pokemon as well. It is known by Magic the Gathering fans. It is known by sports collectors, Yu-Gi-Oh, Dragon Ball, One Piece, no matter what TCG, everyone knows of Moonbron. It is an iconic Pokemon card. Now, if you look at the market and how it's really been going through a drop, a card that has history and has already gone through a period of being very vulnerable, you can see the difference in the market. Moonbron selling for 1.9K in May of this year, and right now it's currently selling for 2,400. So this whole thing market crash, yeah, sure, the ultra hyper modern stuff is going through a bit of a correction. It's dropping. The cards that have that status, the cards that have already gone through that at once upon a time in 2024, in 2023 when they drop, they are being resistant, showing you that it's not about, oh, a Pokemon card's dropping. A lot of it has to do with the quality of the Pokemon card. And if you are purchasing collectibles or you're investing in collectibles, you need to consider the history, the story behind the card, and how it's positioned in the market. And hey, by the way, I just want to say, if it is your first time on my channel, welcome aboard. My name's Phil and I create content around Pokemon cards and Pokemon investing. Honestly, I'd love to have you subscribe. Plus, you'll always have the info all in the one spot about Pokemon cards and what's happening with the market. Another one that I want to talk about is the Rayquaza VMAX, okay? Now, this one, I just want to be very clear. It has also gone through a bit of a spike because of Delta Rain, and that's a new Rayquaza themed set. But you can see that there is pockets of the market that are being resistant. This was selling for $641. Right now, selling for $1,250. That one just, it's not really reflective of that much of a history, but it is good to see that, hey, if there is hype or if there's momentum happening in one area of the TCG, it can pull into older areas as well. And another one, let's look at Gengar VMAX. So if we look in the whole year, Gengar VMAX last year was selling for $595. Right now, Gengar VMAX is selling for 1,000 USD. This is an old card, okay? This is from 2021. Old, well, it's not, it's still a modern card, but it's not exactly, you get what I'm saying. It's not a brand new fresh card. It's had some time, okay? Now, if I pull this into the 6 months, right here is when the kind of drop started happening in May. And you can see it went from 889 all the way to 871, which is absolutely nothing. And now it's actually climbing once again, selling for $1,000. And you can see that, yes, there is pockets of the market dropping and everyone, the vendors are saying, oh, my stuff isn't selling. Well, yeah, because you've got the new hyper modern cards. Now, if you have been looking at the charts that I've been using throughout this video, they are actually all from Collector, who are also the sponsors of today's video. Now, if you've never heard of Collector, it's a collectible portfolio tracker. So on Collector, you can actually add your entire collection digitally. Now, why it's so powerful is that it actually updates prices based on the current market. So you always can see how your collection is traveling in the current market, which is very important. Though upgrading to Collector Pro does unlock some awesome features, one I absolutely love is set analytics. So here you can actually dive really deep into researching a particular Pokemon set, along with which cards are being wishlisted the most by collectors. Now, if you are a person that loves going to card shows, there is a tool known as the Trade Analyzer. Here you can add what you're offering versus what you'll be receiving, and you can see if the trade stacks up in the current market. Honestly, tracking your collection is one of the most important things you can do, and Collector just makes that super easy. All the details to download the Collector app are in the video's description. A big thanks to them showing their support for the channel. Now back to the video. Same thing here with the Blaziken VMAX. Okay, this is Chill and Rain top chase card. Love this card, man. Real talk. I just want to show you in the whole year. Blaziken VMAX was selling for $347. Right now, currently selling for $381. No crazy movement, but I want you to look at that chart right there. That has been stable. This is now a 5-year-old chase card. It has gone through ebbs and flows. I remember when this card was like 150 US, just started spiking and then it dropped. Already been there. Though look how stable it's been in the market. It hasn't budged. It hasn't climbed either, but it hasn't dropped. And there you go. When people say, oh, but all your Pokemon cards are going to drop. Well, guess what? Pokemon cards that haven't had their time to establish themselves, or they haven't had their moment, yes, they are much more likely to be dropping. And all the things dropping right now, it is all the hyper modern. It is all the brand new collectibles, or the cards that have had their history are staying much more stronger in the market. And you do need to consider that. Now, I do want to talk about the Umbreon SIR. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because this had a period where it already dropped. Right now, when this market is going through a correction, the Umbreon SIR has already had one market round where it corrected, which was last year when Prismatic Evolutions dropped, and it was selling for like 1.5K, dropped pretty heavy, and selling for like 900 USD. Now we can see that this card was selling during like this kind of drop period. Pretty much the highest point in the market was $1,573. The Umbreon SIR right now selling for $1,496, 1.5K, okay? That is around a 6% decrease. That is absolutely nothing. So this whole thing where Pokemon cards are absolutely dropping, well, guess what? Umbreon, the SIR, isn't in that hyper modern category. That's the Mega Gengar. That's the Mega Charizard X. That's the Ascended Heroes Pikachu. And then once that price establishes, the next time Pokemon cards go through a bit of a drop, which will probably be around this time in 2027, same thing's gonna happen. You're going to see that they're gonna be more resistant to some crazy drops. But right now, you can see right there, the Umbreon isn't dropping as much as the hyper modern. But that is what I'm trying to explain to you, that once they go through that round, which the Umbreon already has, you can see this time when the market's correcting, it's a bit more resilient. And then the next time it goes, it's very likely that it might even start climbing up, like what we're seeing with the Umbreon VMAX or the Gengar VMAX, showing you it's about the history of the collectible and the quality. Same thing here with the Giratina V from Lost Origin, incredible Shinji Kanda artwork. Check this out, man. This card, with the whole market dropping thing that was happening, selling for $788. Right now, it's selling for $837. It's actually started climbing a little bit during this period. But if you go all the way last year, what was this card selling for? $501. In 1 year, it hasn't doubled right there, but it's pretty much what, like 40% increase, nearly 45%. There you go. That's what I want to try to just get you thinking about and get your brain ticking around this stuff. You don't need to get scared. As soon as the market's dropping, and if you've bought Ascended Heroes and all this hyper modern cards, of course they're going to be dropping because they're over overinflated. But once that price stabilizes, once it drops, once people realize like, oh, okay, there's a limit to how much they can drop. Right now, no one knows the price of the Ascended Heroes Pikachu. No one knows the price of the Mega Dragonite SIR. They are finding their price in the market because they're going to get to a point where they drop a bit too much and then it goes, no, that's the floor of this card. It just can't possibly go lower than that. And then the next time it goes through a bit of a cycle, it goes, no, 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 we've already learned what this market valuation of this card is. You can see Sword and Shield era, the whole correction period right now is for the Hyper Modern. It's not really having that much of effect on these real cards that already have solidified their place within the Pokemon world. And you know what's really crazy? Whether it's Lugia V, or whether it's the Umbreon VMAX, or whether it's Lost Origin Giratina, they've actually already had that time of vulnerability. In 2024, man, Umbreon VMAX, that was going down. That was like crashing. Early 2024, that thing was going straight down. It was one of the first videos I made on my channel. Gengar VMAX at one point, I remember in 2024, I was making content at that time, that was just dropping like a pin. Same thing with the Giratina V. They've already gone through that moment, but guess what? All these new cards right now are going through this right now. So if you're new to the hobby and you're looking at your Pokemon collection dropping and you're like, no man, what is going on? When these cards release, they need to go through this dip period. All these new Ascended Heroes chasers, the Mega Charizard X, they are now in that vulnerable position and you just need to let that pass. Now I'm just talking about the Gengar, the SIR, the Special Illustration Rare, okay? Right, it was selling for 1.4K, or pretty much, yeah, $1,440. Right now it's selling for $1,215. That has definitely dropped. It probably has a bit more room to drop as well, and that's what you got to consider. We don't know the price of this card at the moment, and I know that's like, you're saying, no, I feel it's selling for 1.2K. It's selling for 1.2K right now, but really, collectors are finding out what the price is, and we are going through these growing pains right now, because when I saw this price, and when I remember seeing that right there, it was like 1.5K, I looked at that and I'm like, that's not the card's price. And I know that sounds crazy because it's selling for that, but just to me, it's like when I saw the Umbreon SIR last year selling for 1.6K when Prismatic Evolutions released, I said, that's not the price. And then finally it went down to around 850 when the market kind of, and collectors kind of decided, hey, that's what it is. Even right now, like, we all don't know Ascended Heroes and Pikachu's real price in the market. We need to give it time to see where that baseline is, where the floor of this card is, because right now, like I said, it's just way too volatile. Give it throughout this period, this summer period for US and Europe, let the card find its price. Same thing here with the Pikachu. Was selling for 1.3, nearly 1.4K. Right now selling for 1,100. Again, is it gonna drop a bit further? Right there, pretty much got to what, like $1,050, and then collectors said, hey, that's a little bit low. Maybe that's a bit of a floor for it. Maybe it's gonna drop a little bit more. But right now, essentially, all these hyper modern cards are getting stress tested. And we are now about to see the actual kind of area where they stabilize. The Blaziken VMAX that I showed you before, when I showed you on the chart that it's completely flat, it's for the whole year it's been flat. That price has stabilized. That has pretty much been almost in a way locked in for that collectible. Right now, when everyone goes, oh, Pokemon cards are dropping, I'm telling you, man, when the tide then they start turning again and things happen, then oh, Pokemon cards, I gotta buy. Right now, be a bit of a spectator. I would not be buying too much of this hyper modern at the moment. I would be much more in a spectator view. Again, that's my opinion and the way I'm doing it. But you know, like I really want the Mega Charizard X. I really want that card, but it's probably not the best time for me to buy it at the moment. And this is the thing, right? The quality of the collectible is really important. Not whether it's a PSA 9 or a PSA 10. I'm talking about the history of the card and how much it means in the whole collecting space. Like, I know a lot of collectors are right now speaking about the new upcoming set Delta Rain, and they're complaining about the Mega Rayquaza and then complaining about some of the other cards. Though I think there's a lot more to the new Delta Rain set. And what I mean by that is all seen in this video on screen here. In this video on screen, I look over Delta Rain and I explain why it's such an interesting Pokemon set that's going to be happening at the moment. Click the video on screen, appreciate you watching, and I'll see you on the next video.